We could do this again. Oh, that was Mike.
There you go.
You read my mind again, David. Okay,
yep.
Cool. So ladies, thanks for participating. I know how busy you are, so we'll go fast, but what we're going to be talking about is employee retention, the way to maintain your greatest asset. And why this has become such an issue now is because of what's being called the Great Resignation. And I'm sure you guys have heard about it and are dealing with it. It's almost unbelievable what's going on. And we'll talk about the facts and figures, and then maybe how to reverse the trend for your organization. As David said, my name is Jim Kilmetis. I'm a business development director for Hinda Incentives. We're a 50-year-old incentive and engagement company. And then we work with pro forma partners like David, because a lot of times these programs need feet on the ground. They need promotional items. They need somebody to care for it. And we're in Illinois. I'm actually on Long Island. So we partner with our teams. David's one of our fabulous members, and he can help you in a plethora of things, this being one of many. We have a number of technologies to execute these programs. We have program design experts, customer service teams. We're a big $250 million organization, and we also have our own rewards, and that's enough on us. What we've been hearing, and this came from 60 Minutes. They've had 2 presentations on the Great Resignation. Last year, almost 44 million employees voluntarily left their job. It's almost hard to fathom, but they did for a variety of reasons. This year, 2022 and into 2023, that number is supposed to go up by at least 20%. So that's about 50 million employees. And in some industries, even more than that. So you have to kind of battle this Great Resignation. And companies are doing it to the best of their ability on a short-term basis. They're utilizing interim talent. That only goes so far, right? You have 1,000 employees and you lose 200. Well, you can get people to cover the rest of the work, but that has some negative implications to it, because now they're overworked and they feel underappreciated and are more apt to leave. You're starting to do compensation reviews. I'm sure the HR company is doing that, benefit reviews. A lot of companies are working virtually. So technologies come into play, and you're starting to reward and recognize people. I have 4 children. They all work in tech or media, and they get gifts every single month. And they think that everybody gets gifts for every single month and always had. And I'm trying to explain to them that that's not normal. It's just the new normal. But I mean, they're doing it, and that's a way to keep them engaged and connected to the company. On a more long-term, medium-term basis, it really needs a change of culture. And that's what we're going to talk about, and the reasons why a change of culture is needed. You need to engage employees, not just once in a while with a gift or, every 5 years of service. You need to engage them for all the things that they do that go above and beyond their normal workday activities, the stuff they're getting paid to do. So you want to train people. You should reward them when they get trained. You want them to hit certain KPIs. You should reward them above normal rewards for them to get excited about doing these types of things. You want to start to think about rewarding performance and making sure that your managers are trained in the art of recognition and engagement. So this is what varies widely per field. I would think, technicians are different than healthcare workers, are different than farm workers. But on average, the cost to replace an employee is in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000, the hard costs. So if you have a company or you serve as a company with 1,000 employees and they lose 200 of them, that could be $1 million out the door with no productivity gains against it. In addition, you're making 80% of the people do 100% of the work until you get the 20% higher. That's creating problems with them. And then there are additional costs to train people and to bring them into the fold. The net effect, it costs a lot of money. It could cost easily $1 million for a 1,000-person organization. Now, in certain industries, right, the problem is much, much worse. In healthcare, 42% of all healthcare workers plan to leave their job in the next 12 to 18 months. I mean, that's catastrophic on so many levels, but it's also catastrophic on a productivity and performance level for the hospital. So everybody's got to do something about it. And we think engagement is part of the solution because it addresses all the reasons that these things are happening. So normal engagement programs, when done correctly, lower turnover, lower absenteeism. And because you're rewarding for productivity, it improves profitability, right? So that's what we're talking about here. Decreasing employee turnover, increasing productivity, greater employee satisfaction, decreased stress and absenteeism. It's kind of overall an improved culture. And when you dig into the numbers, you see that this is absolutely necessary. The number one reason why people leave their jobs, I always thought it was money. It's because they feel underappreciated and under-recognized by their immediate manager. That's why people leave. They don't leave for 25 cents more. They feel underappreciated, and therefore they look for other opportunities where they feel more appreciated. Organizations with recognition and engagement programs show a 31% lower voluntary turnover. So just going back to the model, if I've got 1,000 people and 200 leave, and it costs me $1 million to replace them, wouldn't I want to lower that voluntary turnover by a third? How would I be able to do that? And the programs that we put in place actually do that. Just some more facts and figures. Organizations with recognition programs in place experience 28% lower frustration levels. Makes perfect sense, right? If I feel underappreciated, I'm going to feel over frustrated. And 52% of all employees want more recognition from their immediate manager. They all won't leave, but they all want it. It's a natural and fundamental human need to be appreciated by the people around you. Organizations with sophisticated recognition programs are 12 times more likely to have a strong business outcome. And 4 in 10 respondents also say, not only do I want recognition from my managers, I'd like to get recognition from my immediate coworkers. You know, if I'm doing somebody's shift, I'd like them to say thank you. If it's my birthday, I'd like people to know it's my birthday so they can say happy birthday. I want to feel connected to my second family, and I want to be recognized and appreciated by my second family. And this is, I think, an important piece in today's environment, especially with younger workers. You have to show them during the hiring process that you have a culture of engagement, that you're not only going to get a job and a good pay, you're going to be recognized and appreciated through a formal strategy to do so. And that makes your organization more appealing to them because it checks the boxes that they want. They want to be not just workers, but engaged workers. So 4 out of 5 workers are motivated to work harder if they feel appreciated, and 81% feel more appreciated through a formal recognition program. So we think the answer to mitigating, not eliminating, but mitigating the turnover issue and the productivity issue that come alongside of it is to foster a culture of engagement and have a platform that reinforces corporate values and fosters culture and provides an ongoing stream of positive reinforcement. It should drive business metrics. It should increase productivity, improve safety, get you more referrals. It should be a way for your people to aspire to go above and beyond as it relates to your core values. If they aspire to that, then you need to reward them for that, and they'll do more of that. So it has to be a flexible program that meets up with your core values, your KPIs, and the demographics of your organization. So what does that mean? It means that you have to look at all the levers that people are saying they're upset with, and then try and address it. So you have to reward them on their anniversary dates or on their birth dates. You have to have a way to nominate and recognize people for above and beyond activities, where managers are encouraged to do so, because the biggest frustration is between the employee and the manager. You have to have a system that does what we call peer-to-peer recognition, because they've clearly said, not only do I want to be felt like part of the company and appreciated by my managers, I'd like to feel engaged with my fellow employees. And I have to be able to get on the spot recognitions. So, as you're thinking about your organizations or for the HR agency, it should be things that you are contemplating if turnover is an issue. Now, this is not going to eliminate turnover. I'm not making that claim. But what we've done is we've created platforms and strategies to address the issues that are at the core of employee turnover and low productivity. Now, I'm going to stop here for a minute. The two of you are in very interesting positions. One runs a company and one helps companies run their HR departments. Tell me if what we just went through makes any sense. Sorry?
You should be unmuted.
Am I muted?
No.
Okay. I just gave you a lot of information. Push back against it, please, from your individual perspectives, or let me know, are these things that resonate with what you're hearing from your employees, your fellow management team, and your HR clients?
As a business owner perspective, I think that, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think in my personal industry, peer-to-peer recognition is probably going to be a lot of chismosas gossiping going on. And I don't really want to know that. I do have an HR manager and I like to send those things to her for that. But we have, as we started as a small family business, it was, my dad, my brothers, myself, it wasn't really anybody else. And so we weren't really ever very good at doing the recognition. Myself, I've been here, I just had my 20-year anniversary in October of last year. And that was not, thank you, because that's the most I got right there was from Alessandra. So
Get some recognition from us.
So, I mean, my dad is my higher up. And of course, I want that recognition as an individual. And as a manager, I always try very hard to be very appreciative and offer my own help if I can, those types of things. But someplace we definitely slack is on this particular screen right here, like birthday and anniversaries. It's something that's what I was doing. I was jotting down birthdays and anniversaries while you were talking about that, just from like my key employees here in the office. And so I think it definitely makes sense. I think just as in human nature, like you said, we all want to be recognized. We all want to, know that we did something good. But
yeah, I think also what happens, regardless of whether you started a business with your family from the ground up or you were hired into a business, the art of recognition and appreciation isn't really taught anywhere.
Right.
So we expect our managers to do it normally, but it's hard to do things that you're not accustomed to doing. And that's not only in your work life. Maybe that's, my wife says I don't appreciate her enough, right? So, I mean, it really, it is a learned craft, but you have to have a plan in place to, not only learn it, but execute it.
So from the HR standpoint, I want to share that my clients are struggling, not necessarily with the recognition, but the pushback they get is the recognition being belittled by those that are receiving it. So for example, they may have a birthday card or an anniversary card or something where they recognize the person, and what they hear is, oh, that's all you're going to give me? as in, you know, again, recognition in any way is wonderful, but they're dealing, and I'm not sure if it's a generational thing or if it's just an industry thing, but for them, their struggle is how much do I give or invest where I'm really being sincere, but I'm not being, shall we say, disappointed or
Yeah.
possibly being told that something was just not good enough. So that's the struggle that they're facing.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot. And I think there's some really good research when it comes to these types of things. And I'll give you some examples. Let me give you the example first. We were working with the government of Lubbock, Texas, and they had a years of service program. And years of service is basically you get a code and you go to a site and you pick a gift for your 20, 25, 30 years of service.
Mm-hmm.
And only 20% of the people were redeeming their gifts, and they were getting a lot of negative pushback. And I asked them, well, what are you giving for a 25-year reward? And they were giving a $25 gift. And the person that was there for 25 years said, so I'm worth $1 a year. That's what I'm worth to you. So you have to be cognizant of, you know, meaningful gifting.
Right.
Now, you know, birthday cards and anniversary cards are part of meaningful gifting, but that's not meaningful in many ways. So just some facts and figures. The average spend for a years of service is anywhere from $15 to $25. You've been there 5 years, then you should be receiving a $100 gift as part of it. But you don't want to just recognize people once every 5 years, because that doesn't help reduce turnover, improve productivity. It's a nice thing to do. Recognition on an ongoing basis to be meaningful should amount to 1 to 2% of their overall salary. Okay, so if somebody's making $50,000 a year, you need to, if you want it to be meaningful, you need to budget, you know, 1% of that 50,000 for it to be meaningful. Now, the question then becomes, well, where is this budget coming from? And the answer to that is, if you lose 200 people and it costs you $1 million to replace them, spending $50 on a person, if you know it's going to reduce him or her leaving by 1/3, is well worth the investment. And we can pro forma that out really easily. So
Okay.
you're right. If you do it, and it's nice to give a birthday card, but if that's all it is, it's not a culture, and it may be seen as, wow, that's the least you can do for me, right? So and that's a great point. So I really appreciate it. Let me switch out of here. Do we still have some time? I know you guys, you ladies are busy. So is there
Few minutes, about 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to go fast then. I got to get a new share. I'm just going to show you how this might work. And, you know, we have lots of different technologies. This, can you see Engagement Link Express on your screen? Okay.
Mhm.
So this one mirrors all of the things that we understand that causes turnover and lack of productivity. So this would be branded to your organization or your client organization. And there's a multitude of ways for them to receive proper recognitions. One way is through a file upload. So what would happen is we get a list of all your employees, your full-time workers, your transient workers. We'd put them into a secure SFTP site, and on their anniversary date, they would get a communication via email. It could be done in the mail that says, congratulations, Sally. You've been with us for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. You're a valuable member of our team. Go to this website and pick a gift. Okay. Now we could also recognize people in that macro level when they do training, right? We can recognize them if they identify an unsafe working condition. We can recognize them if they hit their KPI or their sales goals. All that can be done on a macro level. So now Sally's come into the site. She wants to see what she's got. This would be branded. Now, she would have 950 points, and don't worry about what the value of a point is. She would have a certain amount of points. Sally would be welcome by name, and she can go shopping, which I'll show you in a moment. This is a manager's view, right? So what you see that Sally wouldn't see is a manager's budget and a manager's nomination process. This is allowing your managers, or the managers of your customers, to go in and say, all right, I also want to recognize Sally because she exemplified one of our core values. And this could be whatever it is that's important, a core value or a KPI. Collaboration, doing extra shifts, customer satisfaction, giving us an idea that saves us money, identifying an unsafe working condition, getting us a referral to a new employee. Anything that you want people to think about doing more of, we can put in here. And now a manager can go in and say, okay, Sally represented our core value of customer satisfaction. I'm going to give her 100 points. Let's say that's worth $10. Makes it very easy for the manager to go in, find Sally, right? Or Sally and somebody else, write her a nice message. And if I'm a middle level manager, I can also put in a justification, because I might have bucket of points to give, but I can't give them freely. I might need to get them approved by a senior. But ultimately, once it's approved, now Sally's going to get another recognition in the form of her certificate presented to Sally, giving her 100 points, recognizing the core value with a message nominated by her manager, Jim. And then when that happens, the points will drop out of the manager's bucket and drop into Sally's bucket. And we can also put Sally on a social wall. Because not only do I want recognition, I want my peers to comment on that recognition, right? I want everybody to know how wonderful I am. So I'll do more if you reward me and promote the things that I'm doing more of. Now, out in the field, right, that might not be appropriate. Maybe in the field we give happy bucks or picking bucks or whatever. If you see somebody out in the field or in the warehouse or in some environment that's not readily accessible to the phone or to your laptop, I can just create branded cards that have $10 values that your managers can hand out to people. Hey, that's a great job. I appreciate that you went above and beyond. We're shorthanded here, and you're doing more. Thank you. Not just thank you, but thank you. Here's a card. Now it's a scratch and win game, right? I can scratch off the name, put it in this area here, and see what they gave me. Maybe it's $10. Maybe every 10th card's $100, but I'm being appreciated on a regular basis. And then finally, not every recognition has to be currency based. And it doesn't always have to come from the top down. So these are what we call e-cards. They're non-denominational, cross-organizational recognitions that, we can set up so that everybody gets a birthday card on their birthday, in addition to the other things they're doing, not only what they're doing. When a new hire comes on, we welcome them. If I get a recognition from leadership, maybe I want to write them a thank you. Just kind of always thinking about this culture where from top down or side to side, people feel appreciated and part of a family. And then ultimately, they're accumulating currency. And this is to that other point, the $25 for 25 years. Well, maybe if we give them a lot of different ways to accumulate, they'll keep doing more and more things to accumulate more and more currency, because they want to shop maybe for things that they wouldn't pay for out of their own pocket. All the brands that, it's hard to go buy a Movado watch, right? Or whatever. So, the idea is to have this ongoing culture that recognizes them, because they are telling us, they're yelling at the top of their lungs by their exodus. If you don't appreciate me, I'm gone. And that's just too much of a cost burden for most organizations to bear, because at the same time of increasing the cost, because you have to spend money to get people, you're lowering productivity because those left behind have to do more, and now they're upset. So that's kind of how we would go forward. And look, this isn't going to solve anything in a day. It's really a cultural shift towards organizing engagement and recognition within your culture, because none of us really know how to do it. But you'll see that when you do it, you'll get more productivity out of your people.
Hey, Jim, can you explain how to get going on something like this? How to start,
Yeah, so
first step?
so a couple of things. I'll do it from the perspective of the two people that are on the call. If you own an organization and you're suffering some of these challenges and don't have the time to do this on your own, then we'll reach out. We'll talk about what your goals and objectives are. We'll talk about the demographics of the people that you're trying to influence. We'll talk about budget, and then we'll put together a proposal. And it takes 4 weeks to get this up and running. From a service provider point of view, an HR company that specializes in benefits should certainly be offering the benefit of executing on their behalf recognition and engagement programs, right? Why is the only benefit, your life insurance, your health insurance, or whatever? You should be offering a complete suite of solutions that are quote unquote benefits to engage and improve culture. So it's really just having a dialogue, understanding all those things, and then helping you execute.
Do you guys have any other questions for Jim? I know we don't want to run too much longer.
No, that's super interesting. Dave, are you going to be sending out Jim's contact info in case any of us want to reach out to him?
Yeah, I mean, we can set up additional meetings. I'll send a follow-up email as well with the recording.
Okay, and Jim, I guess one quick question. Too many, too little people? Can there be too many or too little people to benefit from your services here?
No, listen, I think so. A platform like this one, excuse me, has a cost to it. There's a setup cost and a monthly cost. We don't charge for the points. Most of the expense comes in the rewards. And that's good because it means they've accomplished the goals to earn enough currency to get the rewards. But it might be too expensive for a group of people below, let's say, 150.
Okay.
I would say I have other platforms that are totally free that might be a gateway to testing this out. And in those cases, 5 people make sense, so
Okay.
It only makes sense because whatever the budget you have for the rewarding, which is really what everybody wants to get. I mean, they want to get the points and the accolades, but they want it to be meaningful. You want 90% of whatever your budget allocation is to go to those rewards. So if you have too few people and this expense is a couple of $1,000s, it may not work for you. But then we would move to a different solution.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
David, I'll send you, I think it would be valuable. I don't know if the PowerPoint's valuable, but I'll send you a copy of the PowerPoint. I think if you're trying to, get other stakeholders to pay attention, some of that research might be valuable. I'll send you a link to this site with your own username and password so you can play around with it. And then I'll send you a link to a free site because we might want to start our journey for free. And we'd be glad to do that with you. The one thing, I'm here to answer questions, but it's just our business model, right? You might not sell directly to the supermarket. You might sell through the distributors that sell to the supermarket. We work through channel partners. So I'll always move everything through David. And that's good for you because David has all these other services that so wonderfully complement ours. And I'll just give a quick skinny on that. And here's an interesting thing. Millennials talk about generational, and with all apologies to any millennials that are in the room.
He's talking to you because it's not me, Rosanda.
It ain't me,
It's not me.
You're safe, Jim.
Guaranteed.
The average worker that's younger than 40 in 67% of all cases, continues to look for a job after they've made an offer and accepted it. So it's just mind-boggling. They expect to be recognized on their first day of the job, and at 3 months. Now, you know, clearly that we probably shouldn't have been giving them trophies for just participating in travel soccer, but that's what we did, and that's what we have right now. Where David comes in, a lot of those entry-level rewards are usually branded merchandise. They're lower in cost, and they extend the brand to really make them feel part of it right away, right? In addition, you know, David can do printing, and he can do, so we kind of complement each other, and that's what makes these partnerships so effective, because he does things that are as important as the things that we do, but combined, they become really instrumental in growing your business and sustaining your business. So,
Well,
ladies, I
thank you,
appreciate-
Jim.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time, and you know, good luck on your engagement journey.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up. And like I said, I'll forward the recording and contact info.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.